Well, they blew up the chicken man in Philly last night. Blew up his house too. Down on the boardwalk, they're getting ready for a fight. Gonna see what them racket boys can do. Everything dies, baby, that's a fact. Maybe everything that dies someday comes back. Put your makeup on, make your hair look pretty. Meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Well, hello, and welcome back to that thing we like to call Curless Mania, where we talk all things pop, rock, and prog. Hope you like that little mini version of Atlantic City. Doing my best. It's not Springsteen, but I just wanted to give him a little tribute because we are here tonight to talk about the left turn that is Bruce Springsteen's Nebraska from 1982. And what a record. I mean, when this thing came out, people were just scratching their heads like, what is happening? I always love those records that are kind of like, what is going on? This is a complete left turn that nobody saw coming. And it's a very stark, late night, dark room, record that is just very introspective and man, but it stood the test of time. I'll tell you that. The reason I want to talk about this record is because I was just coming off a trip, and on the airplane, you always have like downtime and stuff, and sometimes I don't just like staring at my screen all the time. So I just want to bring an actual book and read a little bit. So I finally finished a book called "Deliver Me from Nowhere" by Warren Zanes. This was given to me by my good friend and bandmate Chip Som, and for my birthday, I believe it was. And he knows me well. He knows I love Springsteen. So and this had just come out like not long before. So he gave this to me, and I was so excited because I had seen this, and I was like, oh, I gotta read that book. And sure enough, I just devoured this thing. I mean, once I got going on it, I just didn't stop, and it was like a pretty easy, quick read because it was just so fascinating. If you're interested in if I love music, I want to dig deep. I want to find out what's going on, what's making this artist tick. Why are they writing these songs? What was the atmosphere when they recorded this album? If I'm interested in a piece of music, I will dig. And so not only did I read this, and this is excellent. And by the way, Warren Zanes is a great author. He's written many books, and he's a professor as well. And he was in a band called the Del Fuegos, so with his brother. So when he was very young, so he was he's a musician as well, but he's a professor now and he writes books. So this book is excellent. If you're interested in Springsteen at all, you will love this book. So props, 5 stars. I mean, this is just really well written, well researched. He, obviously he was talking to Bruce himself, and he's got a lot of great pictures in here, and just it tells the whole story, from the whole story of it. This got me excited to make a video about Nebraska. So there you go. But there's another book too. Hold on. There's another book that I read a little while ago, actually, by Dave Marsh, called Glory Days, which is Bruce Springsteen in the 1980s. This is an excellent. I mean, look at this. This is quite the book. I have quite a few Springsteen books, but these are the two I'm talking about tonight because this focuses on like basically. I think it starts with the River Tour. I think is when it starts, and then it continues through the 1980s through Tunnel of Love and everything. But this book also touches pretty heavily on Nebraska as well. It tells the whole story of Nebraska, and this is also an excellent book. So if you're a Springsteen fan and have not read this, definitely got to pick this one up as well. So and I'm going to be reading some excerpts from some of this stuff because there's some great stuff in here. But and this is going to be kind of a rambling video. I didn't really prepare that much for this. I just kind of felt, as my friend Amy Fox says, I felt passionate about it. So like when you're feeling the passion, you got to like go hit record and do it right now. And I agree with that. And so I was feeling it. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. So, but I didn't prepare a ton. So the only thing I have is that it's his 6th studio album. released September 30th, 1982 on Columbia. It was engineered by Mike Batlin, which was like his guitar tech. Recorded at Springsteen's home in Colts Neck, New Jersey. More about that later. It peaked at number 3 in the U.S. and sold very well because it was coming off of The River. I mean, it was coming off of this. And this album sold very, very well. It was a double album, and this was his biggest, I think this was his biggest selling album to that point in his career, because it had a hit single, Hungry Heart, on it. So more on that in a minute. But the singles for Nebraska were Open All Night, Atlantic City, which you heard earlier, and Open All Night. Atlantic City had a video as well, very black and white. He made a video, but he didn't want to be in it. So it was just that kind of thing. He wasn't doing interviews. He didn't tour behind it. He did a video without himself in it. So it was just, this whole process is just fascinating because this was like his soul. I think he felt this is a very honest and naked record for him. And I think he felt very proud of it because of that. So, but before we dig in more into that, let's talk about The River a little bit. So there's a little bit, you got to go back a little bit to get like a little history. So Bruce is on this upward swing, right? From his debut all the way to The River. He's on this just uphill, where, it took him a while to get going, and he almost got dropped, and then he made Born to Run, and Born to Run was a big song and a big album and a big tour. And then he had the whole, everybody knows the Springsteen, a lot of people know the Springsteen history, where it's like, he has this big hit and a big tour, and then he has to sue his manager, and he drops his manager, and he gets into a lawsuit, and he brings on a whole new team of people, including John Landau, who's been his manager ever since, and people like Chuck Plotkin. That's so when he finally makes Darkness on the Edge of Town. I mean, I'm going to talk about all this stuff in other videos. I'm going to do more Springsteen content, so I'm just kind of skimming over it. But essentially, he gets in this long legal battle where he can't do anything, and then he's writing a ton of songs, and then he does Darkness on the Edge of Town, which easily could have been a double record, and but he made it a single album. But he was laboring on Born to Run and laboring on Darkness on the Edge of Town, and then he finally did The River, and of course, in the meantime, he's writing all these songs. That you have to bring some of this stuff up because this is kind of important to Nebraska. So it's like he's writing all these songs that could be hits, and he gives them away. Like he would give them to like, oh, I wrote this song, I'll give it to Patti Smith. Because the Night, I'll give that to Patti Smith. That became a big hit. Oh, I got this other song, I'll give this to, he wrote all these, he had so much material, and he would like give it away. He gave Fire to the Pointer Sisters. He gave, what was another one? He had a lot of songs that he would just give them away. It's so many. And he would always think that the songs that were upbeat and poppy and sort of like melodic, he would give them away. It was almost like he didn't want to have a hit because he felt like if he had a hit, it would like corrupt his artistry or something. And so he wrote Hungry Heart, and he was going to give Hungry Heart away to the Ramones. And I think like John Landau and Steve Van Zandt, who was like, they were like co-producers of The River, were like, wait a minute, time out. We can't give this one away. Like this feels like a hit. I'm trying to think what the others. There's other songs that he gave away that became hits. I'm totally like not thinking of, but anyway, he gave a bunch of songs to Southside Johnny, of course. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So he was like, I'm going to give this to the Ramones. This is kind of a lightweight song. And he did that all during Darkness. He had all these songs, and he'd be like, no, they don't fit the narrative. They're not part of what I'm trying to say. Throw them, give them away or put them on the side or B-sides or whatever, or give them away. So he tried to give away Hungry Heart he was going to give it to the Ramones, and they were like, wait a second, this song is just way too good. This could be, there's something about this song, like, and they kind of like put their feet down, or both Steve Van Zandt and John Landau both said, wait a minute, this is a hit. Maybe it's time. We've put out a lot of records at this point. It's okay. Like, it's all right. If it turns into a hit, that's okay. So anyway, we all know that Hungry Heart became a big hit. It was all over the radio. It became this big, big song for him. And it sold, this album, because of that, sold a ton. And this is a great album. I mean, I love The River. This might be my favorite. I mean, it's so close between Darkness and The River. I don't. It's just they're like neck and neck. But like I think when Rubber Hits the Road, this probably my favorite Bruce Springsteen album. I listen to this a ton. Because it has everything that he does so well. It's got the live, crazy, upbeat, garagey, you know, like, Crush on You and Looking Better Not Touch and like all those sort of like crazy upbeat rager kind of songs. But then he's got like, things that are like upbeat but like more like Darkness stuff like Ties That Bind, um, and like Jackson Cage and things like that are sort of rockers, but they're like very like intentional rockers and very, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like then he's got these sort of moody pieces, things like Point Blank and Wreck on the Highway and Stolen Car, like these sort of like mood pieces almost, which are really really cool. Like so, it's like all there. Like it's a double record. So he had this time he actually could fill a double album, right? And he does. I mean, I out in the streets. I mean, this album's just like packed with bangers. Like I just love this album. I just think it's so good. And a lot of it's just like live in the studio because Steve Van Zandt was like, man, I can't spend like 4 years making another album. Like he's like, I can't do this anymore. He almost walked out, and Bruce was like, wait, you can co-produce this album with me. So he's like, oh really? Okay. So like he stayed to co-produce the record, but his part of the Steve Van Zandt thing was like, let's get some live. Let's just set the band live up in the studio and just hit record, man. But what happened with Bruce, of course, was that he could never make anything quickly. So he's like, all right. So they started doing take after take after take. Then it was like live takes, and they just would do like take after take, a take 36, take 37. Doing all these takes of live recordings. Um, Anyway, I'm really getting sidetracked here. But I just love The River. I just love this album. So anyway, so he tours behind this, and it's like he does No Nukes, and that's like everyone's just going crazy for Bruce at this point. His star is on the rise. It's like now it's like he's really like hitting. He's selling tickets like crazy, and people are like clamoring to see him, and he's playing bigger and bigger places, and the tour is like super successful. This is the beginning of like Bruce Mania when people started to get crazy about him. Like, I mean, he was already like a big like artist, cult artist of sorts, but then like this is when he really broke big, was this album in like 1980. So he does that tour, and the tour is super successful, and it's huge, and it just goes for a long time, and it's like awesome. Like you see clips of the River tour, and it's like, friggin' awesome. They're just like the B Street Band is like on fire, and he's on fire. Bruce is on fire, and it's great. There's clips on YouTube, just go look it up. But anyway, so he has this hit, right? And and the crowd would sing, like he would, the whole thing of like the crowd singing the first verse of, got a wife and kids in Baltimore, Jack. I went out for a ride. The whole crowd would sing the first verse, and that became a ritual. So, but anyway, so he comes off this super successful tour, and I think they went to Russia or something too. Like for the first time they did like international dates. I mean, he'd gone to London before, but they did like more than that. They did like Europe dates, like all over Europe. And I think he said, there's a quote from Bruce saying that the first time I really felt like I had money was after the River tour, because it was like, that was when really things really were taking off, and I just think that was the first, and he had been in debt from like the lawsuits and all that stuff, and he had crappy deals with Mike Appel and all that stuff. So now with John at the helm, he was starting to make money, and with the big hit, obviously too. So, but I think what happened was after that tour, I think he felt kind of empty after that tour. Like Bruce was a very introspective guy, and very, he had a rough upbringing, and you know, he's a true artist. I mean, he was crazy on stage. He was like nuts and crazy on stage, but then he'd get off stage and be super like kind of quiet and thoughtful, and I mean, this is a guy who would fill up notebooks full of lyrics. I mean, just like full notebooks, just one page after another, just fill up with lyrics. So he really was like, and he was super hard worker, and really diligent about his art. And so I don't know. There's something about like he had his most success to that point, but I think success was making him feel a little bit empty. And I think that's a common story, right? There's a common theme with a lot of artists like that. With like you're striving for success, you're striving. I gotta be successful. I gotta, I gotta get to the top. I gotta get the golden ring, right? And then when you actually grab it, and then you pull it down, you go, oh yeah, I just got the golden ring. But your life doesn't feel any different, right? You're like you still got to wake up and eat breakfast and like you know what I mean. Like your life just doesn't. I mean, yeah, okay, you did that. I remember like I think Nick Mason said that from Pink Floyd said something about you want all these things that you want to accomplish and then you accomplish them and you don't feel any different. Like it's great, it's good that you did it, but like your life feels kind of the same. Like it's like okay, now what do we do? Like now what's our next big accomplishment that we need to get? And it's like never ending, right? It's like okay, you accomplish that, then you need to accomplish something else, then you need to accomplish something else to feel better, right? So at some point it kind of starts to feel a little bit like okay, I'm glad I'm successful, but it's also kind of I don't know. It's like chasing success gets a little bit empty feeling maybe. And I think that he tended to do this. He would go on road trips after his tours. Like after a tour, he'd be like, "All right, let me just get in the car and just like drive across the U.S." Almost like maybe like he needed to keep moving or something. Like he couldn't just go and he didn't have a family at this point. He didn't have a wife. He didn't have kids. He didn't. He had been like a lone wolf for a very long time, and I think that was starting eating him too because he was turning 30. I think he just turned 30 and he was like in his 30s now and he's like okay my friends are starting to get married and starting to like settle down and get jobs and like I'm like the only guy that's still like playing rock and roll besides my bandmates and I just think he was feeling kind of like wow what's going on. I mean this is great but like what now you kind of thing. And apparently he had like maybe a little bit of like a nervous breakdown or something during the trip. Kind of felt a little weird on the trip, and then like he went out to L.A. or something. He bought like a place in L.A. or something, and so he drove across the country to go to L.A. and then came back and came back to this house in Colts Neck, New Jersey, and it was kind of him and Mike Batlin, who was his guitar tech, who was kind of like helping him out to do things, and he set up like this makeshift studio in his bedroom. And he would just sit at the edge of the bed, and he would like on a TAC 4-track, which was kind of cutting edge at the time. I mean, in 80 whatever 82 whatever it was 81, this was like cutting edge stuff. You could do like 4 tracks by yourself. Excuse me. Um, and so he started strumming. He had this material. He started like I guess it wrote it pretty quickly, and all these songs started coming out. And he was like very folky just by himself. And I think what he was trying to do originally was like I'm going to make demos for the next record, so we don't write in the studio. I'm going to make demos, present them to the band, and things will go a lot faster. So, so that's what he did, and he started making these demos, and it's fascinating. He's got like this. He sends them to John Landau, and he's got like all of these notes, like 2 pages of notes with like here are the demos, and here's what I think about this, and here's what I think about that. And it's like really detailed, and it's really cool. And it's funny. He said something about like highway patrolman or something. He's like, I'm not sure if this is good. We're like, it's like I think Warren Zanes said something about that in one of his interviews. Like he said something about highway patrolman not being that good of a song. It's like crazy, but it's like that song's amazing. So anyway, so then what happened was he got together with the band and they started recording some of these songs, and he was like, this isn't working. Like this isn't what I want. Like the demos that he made were like kind of crappy. They're like on like a cassette. He like sort of mixed them down on this like beat up boombox that would like had fallen in the water, fallen in like the lake or something, and came back to life. He like this whole demo thing was like very shaky and it kind of sounded crappy, but it sounded kind of cool too. Like it had like an atmosphere to it. And whenever he did it with the band and it was like crisp and clear, he's like, this isn't doing it. Like this is not close. Like this is not. I think he got so used to listening to the songs as the demos, and then when the band started playing it, he was like, this isn't right. Like something's wrong. So he was like, we're not getting this. We're not getting the songs. But then in the meantime, of course, Jerus has got like a million songs. So he's like, oh, how about this one? How about Born in the USA? How about Cover Me? How about, he starts like pulling out all these other songs. and they start doing versions of like other songs that he has, and they're like killing it, and including Born in the USA and Cover Me, and what was the other one? Like Working on the Highway, like things like that, things that would become on Born in the USA. They recorded, and it was like everyone was excited, like Chuck Plotkin and like Jan Landau, and like, oh my God, like these are great songs, and oh, this is turning out great, like this is awesome. But Bruce wasn't happy because they weren't getting the Nebraska songs. Bruce was more worried about the Nebraska material coming out right with the band, and it wasn't. So he kept coming back to that, even though he said, "Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's cool," but like, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to like do the Nebraska stuff, that the tape that I gave you, that had all those songs on it. Um, so things like Atlantic City, they tried, and it just didn't work out. Like it just didn't sound right. And you know, Mansion on the Hill, and just all these songs that would end up on Nebraska, he just was like, we're not getting it. So he kept carrying around the cassette that he had of the demos, like in his jacket, just like walking around, like going whatever, just like, oh yeah, the cassette in my jacket, and these are my demos for the album. That So they kept going back and forth about how they weren't getting it with the band, and it was just bugging Bruce, and they had like endless conversations, and then finally one day I guess it was suggested that maybe those demos could be an album. And it's kind of contested on who said it, or who brought it up as an idea, or who. I think I marked a page in this book about when that. So so it says Landau had been mulling the problem over himself. He had come to no conclusions, but suddenly he found himself blurting out an idea he had never intended to articulate. Well, he said, we can just put the demo out the way it is. Bruce shot Landau a look, a mixture of uneasiness and relief. He'd already had similar thoughts himself, but he had been unsure about how to go about saying so, especially since John seemed a little bit resistant. Was Landau serious? I wasn't serious and I was not serious. I wasn't serious and I wasn't not serious, he said later. I was thinking out loud. Basically, I'm in a position of figuring out, hey, we have this stuff. I know it's great. Bruce knows it's great. Chuck knows it's great. Steve knows it's great, and it needs to come out. We tried very hard with the band, who have always been able to successfully render anything that we wanted to get onto a record, and we haven't been missing by a little. We were missing by a lot. So we couldn't figure it out. Um, but we're not in the ballpark. We weren't even close. So basically, he brought, the decision was made like, we're not going to better the tape, essentially. And Bruce, I think Bruce was already feeling that way. And so Landau was just, like he said, in the book, he's basically just thinking out loud, like, I think this is what Bruce is thinking too. And sure enough, when he said it, it became like, yeah, that's what we need to do. Excuse me. We need to put out the tape. So then it became this, oh my God, we're going to put out the tape as an album. This like crappy text XL tape or whatever he had in his pocket. And so, you know, but the material on there was amazing, and it was so evocative that it was like that's the album, right? So, and I think that once that became a thing, Bruce got really excited, like, yeah, that's what I want to do. And then once that idea was out there, he was like, yeah, that's what's happening. We're putting out the tape. Like, it was like he got really excited about the idea, and it was like once he was pumped about it, forget it. It was so they had. I mean, I would love to have been in the room when they brought this to Columbia. Like, here's the new Bruce album. I mean, it's like, are you kidding me? This guy just had this massive hit, and I think this is another thing, is that the time in his career, it's always like you got to capitalize when you're hot, right? He was hot at this point, and you capitalize on those things. Every artist does it. If you're really hot, you can kind of do whatever you want, right? Like, Sandinista after London Calling, right? It was like, let's do a triple album, or you know, there's a lot of examples of that, like Guns N' Roses, where they did the, Use Your Illusion, like, because they could do anything they wanted. They did 2 albums, right? So it's like stuff like that. When you're hot, you can just basically tell the record company, here it is. This is what we're doing. And they're like, okay, because you're a hot artist, okay. When you're nothing, they're like telling you what to do. But if you're hot, they're like, okay, we'll do whatever. So they talked to the, was it Yetnikoff, I think? And he was like, okay, I guess we'll do the best we can. I guess we'll try, And there's a whole nother story about how hard it was to get it to like mix it and master it and have it not, have the right frequencies and have it mastered correctly. And, there's all this stuff that went on behind the scenes, like technically to get this, to get his tape onto to master. So, but they finally got it done. Chuck Plotkin was like, a big part of that. And they finally got that done. And, it's a great record. I mean, it's, you know, and the lyrics are just unbelievable. I mean, you know, he's talking about Charles Starkweather. All these different. Flannery O'Connor was a big influence on him at the time. Badlands by Terrence Malick. He watched that late at night one night and was like, that was the the movie about Charles Starkweather who went on a killing spree with his girlfriend basically in Nebraska, and that was one of the songs. And his father gets, his upbringing gets in there a little bit with, my father's house and Mansion on the Hill, and then like things like Highway Patrolman and State Trooper kind of feel like almost like Wreck on the Highway Part 2, like almost like continuing some of those stories and some of those atmospheres he was creating on the river. Um, and um, I mean, it's just incredible, incredible. I mean, the whole like, Highway Patrolman where he's talking about his brother, and it's just you get so pulled into that song. It's like Frankie ain't no good, and like I'm a cop. I'm doing, and my brother is like a delinquent, and but I can't, I, I know he's no good, but I still love him. He's still my blood. And it's just, oh my God, I can't do it justice. I can't really talk about it. You just got to listen to it. But this was a seriously brave record to make. I mean, it's got to be said. This was a brave step, a brave record. I mean, I think that honestly, this is just me thinking out loud, speculating. I kind of always think that like Landau like probably went to like when he brought this to Columbia, he probably said like, hey, just between you and me, we just recorded a bunch of band stuff that's like kick ass. Like it's amazing. It's totally commercial. The next record's gonna like go through that'll be the next album. That's like those tapes are on the shelf. Like he's already got a bunch of stuff that's like gold. Like so like put this out. Like this will like satisfy his artistry, right? Which it did. I mean, it was very artistic, and I think Landau did love this stuff. I mean, everyone did, but like he's just saying to placate the record company, like, hey, I know this is like a dark, dark folky record that's like not like doesn't have any hits on it, but like put this one out. Bruce really wants it. We want it. Put it out. This is what we're gonna do. It's gonna be an artistic statement. Do what you can with it, and it did sell pretty well actually. And they did. I mean, to their credit, they did it. They were like, okay, we're gonna do that, and we'll do the best we can with it, and they did. And he didn't tour. He didn't do any interviews. He didn't do anything. He was just quiet, and because I think he felt like he wanted the record to speak for itself, which it does. But I think I can't help but feel like Landau was like, hey, we got like a lot of awesome stuff like in the vaults. Like the next record, I'll make sure the next album's like massive. Like don't worry, just put this one out, and like the next album is gonna be massive. And that's kind of what happened. I mean, I really think, and I think in his mind he was thinking that too. Like the next album's gonna be like we're going big. And then sure enough, Born in the USA was like massive, right? So, but I think Bruce felt better about going massive and going more commercial after doing this album. I think that's why this album is so, like, it's like essential for him in his career at the time. I think he had to do it. And I think that I'm glad, I mean, the fans are glad he did it because this is some of the best Bruce stuff there is. I mean, this album is like essential listening for any Bruce fan, and any kind of songwriter. I mean, songwriters are just like, I mean, this guy. I mean, he's just the writing was so good, and it's just and there's something about it, the atmosphere, and just the look, the cover. I mean, the cover's perfect. It's like it's so perfect, and then the picture of him on the inner sleeve is just just like he's like standing in another room, like just looks like he's just like walking by, and he's like out of focus. And this is what he wanted. I mean, he wanted this. That's how he wanted to present this record, and it worked perfectly. It's like it's just perfect. So so yeah, if you're a fan, you know, you definitely need to pick this book up. This is very good. This got me even more into Nebraska. Believe it or not, I was already into it. This got me even more into it. So Warren Zane's great job on this, and man, I'm just glad you wrote this book. It's really cool. And there's all sorts of like clips on YouTube too about like where they go back. I think he did CBS this morning where they go back to the house and they say he's like, oh, the orange shag carpet is the same carpet, you know. And yeah, this is where I sat and strummed the guitar right at the edge of the bed right here. You know, they go back to the house. It's pretty cool actually. Um, but but yeah, a seminal record in Bruce's discography, which is already amazing. And he kind of went back to this a little bit. You know, he always went back to like, you know, like Devils and Dust, and this is a whole nother conversation. But like, you know, even like Tunnel of Love, I think that he also liked the idea of like doing an album without the band. To be honest, I think that was another thing in his mind. Like, this is kind of cool to like have my independence and do something just on my own and put it out. I think that kind of freed him up a little bit, maybe, to do things like Tunnel of Love, which came after, you know, Born in the USA. Tunnel of Love was more of like a solo thing where like he kind of invited a couple of the E Street guys to come and like, hey, can you add to this? Like, here's the demo. Can you add to this? So it was almost like doing a Nebraska thing, but then inviting individual people to like add stuff here and there, but like nothing crazy, like no full band stuff. And Tunnel of Love is another great record. So anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. I don't want to go down that route. So this has been fun. That was the road to Nebraska. Hope I didn't bore you too much, but I love it. I'm like fascinated by it. I think it's a cool left turn. And I think I'm going to do more of this. I did the road to Face Value with Phil Collins. I like doing these sort of road to albums where you kind of like the little history up until and why did this happen, and you know, why did things converge or come together to make this artistic statement happen, kind of thing. I like that idea. So that's going to be another theme, you know, along with album battles and You're the Producer, and you know, just ideas that come to me. So that's going to be another theme, is the road to. So this was the road to Nebraska. Check out the road to Face Value. That's another video on Curless Mania. So check that out. So yeah, thanks, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Always remember to like and subscribe if you like the video. Bruce fans, hopefully I'll get some Springsteen people watching this video. We'll see. And like and subscribe. Always, please subscribe. So if you really like what you see, it helps me a ton if you can hit the subscribe button. I know a lot of people don't, and it just really takes 2 seconds. Just go subscribe, you know, and then that helps me a ton. It just helps me want to make more videos, and helps me with the algorithm, all that stuff. So I appreciate if you would subscribe to the channel. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and we'll see you next time on Curless Mania. See ya.